Kung Fu Panda 4 is the latest film in the long-running Dreamworks franchise. Much of the films beforehand has been extremely well done. I still consider both the first and second film to be classics that have such memorable, fun, and heartwarming adventures that are bursting with charisma, colorful action sequences, and emotional moments that really showcase how dramatic and serious these films can be. And while Kung Fu Panda 3 suffers from a few problems, like a villain who could have gotten more story background, one with a story that was executed decently, but failed to be different or unique. It was still a decent time, not the best, but still fun. And now we have the newest film in the series, Kung Fu Panda 4, where the story follows our lovable Kung Fu fighting panda, Po, where he's about to retire from his role as the Dragon Warrior, and is about to begin his new role as the spiritual leader of the Valley of Peace. But he also needs to find a successor to helm the new role as the Dragon Warrior. But soon, a new foe named the Chameleon, a shape-shifting sorceress who could transform into any person, including Poe's past villains. So, with the help of a swift-thieving fox named Zen, he'll travel to new destinations as he slowly confronts his strongest opponent yet. The story feels somewhat similar to more recent films, especially something like Toy Story 4. We know the story of the lovable panda is slowly coming to an end, and this film is basically the beginning of the end. And while the film handles that specific section well, the story sadly falls flat due to its predictable story. You'll already begin to speculate if this specific theme will happen in the film. And guess what? It does! The story is predictable, it doesn't do anything surprising or different. You know how the story will end, you'll know what is going to happen later on. It's sort of sad since you'll know how this movie will go. It's cool that it expands more of the world, and the idea for the story is great, but it fails to expand more on this kind of story. But what the story does a great job at is really making the film the culmination of everything that has happened in the past three films, especially in the ending, where it unexpectedly gives an iconic character from the past films a really touching conclusion to his story. And the ending offers what I like to call a standalone ending, where this film can act like a true finale to the series for fans or viewers, and believe that the entire story can end right here. Because that's how the ending felt for me. It offered a nice resolution to an old rival, ending with respect, and the birth of a new era, while the old era that we know and love is coming to a close. While the story is predictable, it offers an emotional conclusion that is able to close out the entire series in a heartwarming way. Honestly, the new characters that are introduced in this film are pretty well done. Zen, voiced by Awkwafina, is a great inclusion to the Kung Fu Panda universe, a fun and expressive and lively character that brings something new to the franchise. The villain, the Chameleon, voiced by Viola Davis, is easily one of the coolest concepts for a villain that Poe has to fight. This extremely threatening villain who can steal the kung fu of various masters and can even disguise as them. That's awesome! But her reason for being a villain is extremely disappointing. It's easily one of the most simplest, low effort, and boring reasons I've ever heard for a villain. Sort of reminds me of how boring Kai's story was in the third film. Tai Lun from the first film and Lord Shen from the second film all had good reasons as to why they wanted to achieve their goal as the antagonists. The studio was able to give them a story as to why they acted this way. However, in the fourth film, they don't. It's a huge shame since the idea of the villain is great. I don't get why they don't expand more on her character's background. The rest of the side characters, will have some decent moments, were pretty forgettable or annoying, but it was nice to see some familiar characters once again. Although, we are missing one particular group of five that is completely absent from the film, which is honestly very disappointing to see. Once again, Hans Zimmer returns yet again to create the film's score alongside Steven Mazzaro. And man, Zimmer's score for the films is easily one of the most memorable aspects of the series. It fantastically creates such a soothing, frantic, and wondrous atmosphere that transports us to the film's world, with fast-paced music segments in the fight scenes, slow and calming music when the story enters a calm or dramatic moment. Zimmer has done another fantastic job of creating such fine pieces of music for the film. The animation for the film was great, and to be honest, I was skeptical about the animation due to the lower budget, but they really made the film look beautiful. It's colorful and bright when it comes to the scenery. The action sequences were fast-paced with tons of camera movement that mixes in with the unique cinematography that was heavily inspired by anime action scenes, bringing in some of the best looking action scenes that the series has ever seen. And while at some points the animation has some off-putting and choppy moments, it still does a great job with trying to explore different styles that the film hasn't explored yet. The writing was definitely in the mixed bag, all things considered, especially with the comedy. The comedy offers some decent laughs, and there are one or two scenes that did give me a good laugh, but the rest of the comedy was rather stale, unfunny, forceful, or unnecessary. When you compare it to the last three films, the comedy wasn't on par with those films. But the drama in the writing wasn't that bad. It was pretty well done and offered some sweet and emotional moments that felt genuine, as if it was trying to make a connection with the audience. While the writing for the comedy isn't on par with the last three films, I would say the writing for the drama was better executed in this film. The main message that I see in the film is change. Change is going to come and we can't stop it. In the film, we see Poe trying to accept that he isn't going to be the Dragon Warrior anymore. He's about to lose the position that changed his life forever ever since the first film. And throughout the film, we see him struggling with accepting that change. It offers an emotional resolution where we must all realize that there will come a time when we must move on with our lives and let a new generation take over our place. So while Kung Fu Panda 4 did receive positive reviews from critics and audiences, critics agree that the series is starting to lose its steam, and I for one have to agree with them. There comes a time when a series needs to stop at some point in time. You can't just continue on and deliver unnecessary sequels or continue dragging the story for on and on. You have to end the story at some point, and to me, this would be a good ending point where the series should end. While Kung Fu Panda 4 may be the weakest film in the franchise, especially when it comes to its story, poorly developed villain, and mixed bag comedy, there's still some fun to be had with the film. It has some of the best action scenes in the entire series, it offers a well-developed message that is executed greatly alongside its well-made drama and emotional writing, and it gives closure to everything that has happened in the past three films, whether it's gaining the respect of an old foe or ending the story off with the new beginning of a new generation of Kung Fu. Even with its flaws, Kung Fu Panda 4 is still a decently fun time for fans and audiences alike. I'll give this film a 6 out of 10. Go and watch the film and form your own opinions on it.